What's up, Taiwan? Good morning. I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Japan is planning to dump over 1 million tons of treated radioactive water from its crippled Fukushima nuclear plant into the sea next year. The move has touched the nerve in Taiwan, where protesters on Thursday gathered outside the de facto Japan embassy in Taipei to denounce the plan. Bing Wang has this report.
Environmental activists present their demands to Japan's de facto embassy in Taipei. These activists frequently protest over Taiwan's territorial disputes with Japan. But now they're handing Tokyo's de facto embassy in Taipei a list of very different concerns.
也要借这个机会来呼吁日本政府审慎地评估明年要排放核废水的计划。
In April of 2021, Japan announced it would dump over 1 million tons of water from the Fukushima nuclear plant. The power plant was damaged in the 2011 tsunami and set off a nuclear disaster. Countries all over the world placed bans on Fukushima imports, including Taiwan. Fukushima food imports were banned for 10 years in Taiwan due to concerns over radiation. But in February, the government changed their stance because they wanted closer ties with Japan and they believed that the food was safe. Local consumers are still skeptical of the government's decision. Now that Japan is set to release wastewater from Fukushima into the ocean, it's again drawing global condemnation from governments and environmental groups. Tokyo maintains that the wastewater will be treated before disposal, and it won't be harmful to humans or marine life. But many aren't convinced.
日本的宫城县跟福岛县有民间团体啊，有达成了18万份的联署给日本东京电力公司，他们也是严重的质疑这个。然后，所以我们是认为，在不管是日本国内还是包括我们国外，有没有大家都还有疑虑的状况下，所以我希望日本政府能更审慎的评估。
The Japanese government says they consulted with other countries in the region, and their plan is also endorsed by the International Atomic Energy Agency. But these activists won't be swayed, and they intend to keep protesting until Japan changes their plan. Ricky, Pichi Zhuang, and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
Hong Kong has become the latest Chinese territory to destroy a shipment of Taiwanese mangoes. City officials say they detected COVID-19 on one of the fruits and destroyed 200 kilograms of mangoes in the same batch. On Saturday, Macau banned Taiwan mango shipments from 2 companies for a week, also over COVID concerns. Agriculture officials say neither territory has provided evidence of their claims. U.S. and U.K. intelligence officials have held an unprecedented joint appearance to warn of the threat posed by China and its espionage campaigns. The head of MI5 and the FBI outlined a range of concerns, including the consequences of an invasion of Taiwan. Jaime Okan reports.
It's the first time intelligence officials from the U.S. and the U.K. are side by side giving a joint statement. Speaking before business leaders in London, the heads of MI5 and the FBI outlined what they've concluded is the greatest threat to the stability of the current world order.
We consistently see that it's the Chinese government that poses the biggest long-term threat to our economic and national security. And by our, I mean both of our nations along with our allies in Europe and elsewhere.
UK security officials urged companies seeking to do business with China to be wary of the consequences, expressing their concern that Beijing's intentions might not be what they seem.
The widespread Western assumption that growing prosperity within China and increasing connectivity with the West would automatically lead to greater political freedom has, I'm afraid, been shown to be plain wrong.
US cybersecurity experts say that last year, China was responsible for almost 2/3 of all state-sponsored cyber attacks. And according to the intelligence chiefs, this trend is putting many companies and organizations at risk.
The Chinese government is set on stealing your technology, whatever it is that makes your industry tick, and using it to undercut your business and dominate your market.
But China's domination might not stop in the markets. The intelligence chief said their findings show that China's been looking to insulate its economy against potential sanctions from the West should it try to invade Taiwan. China has never considered Taiwan a country and has vowed to bring the island under its control by force if necessary. In turn, Taiwan has continued to bolster its combat readiness and recently unveiled new jet trainers to better prepare its military pilots for possible conflict. The unprecedented joint statement by the intelligence chiefs highlighted the importance of allies working together in confronting a rising power like China.
All of us in America, in the UK, and across the free world are in this together, and together we're an awfully formidable team.
The chiefs concluded that if China were to invade Taiwan, it could be, quote, one of the worst business disruptions the world has seen. And as these two Western nations assert their commitment to their allies, they hope to keep China from challenging the status quo. James Rayner and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Museum of World Religion's new exhibition is giving visitors an immersive opportunity to explore life and death. Called Brightest Night, Darkest Day, A Walk with the Death, the exhibit takes guests on a journey through life and into what might way beyond through the perspective of different religions. The museum's director says the experience will make guests reflect on their inner selves. The Taipei Film Festival has become an important test ground for both commercial and experimental movies. This year, a range of diverse themes is hitting the screens. Our reporter Yujin Huang looks at some of what's on offer and how it reflects Taiwanese society.
The opening feature of this year's Taipei Film Festival is not the typical blockbuster. Mama Boy centers on a shy 29-year-old man who still lives with his mother and has a late start to his love life, a situation that many Taiwanese can relate to.
因为国片的制作的成本跟整个技术状况呢，你不一定能够去好莱坞去比。那台湾这边本土制造电影有自己的一个本土议题的情感上的抒发需求，那这个部分是好莱坞电影是无法比拟的。
In terms of domestic films, Taiwanese like to watch melodramas, gangster movies, and thrillers. But in the early days of the industry, the martial law government of the time supported films that portrayed Chinese culture as superior to anything Taiwanese, in an effort to suppress a separate national consciousness. That changed after a cultural movement in the 1990s.
Our Taiwanese people started to look at our own culture in a positive light and to cherish what we have and what have made us who we are. And in films, the local elements are now embraced.
Two other popular films at the film festival touch on gender-based issues. One focuses on power imbalance in relationships and sexual violations, and the other film revolves around female sexuality in the teenage years. Neither film makes a judgment based on traditional values, challenging audiences to make up their own minds.
我觉得影展它本身就是应该扮演这样子一个角色，它应该要可以去为观众去寻找到一个值得被关注的电影，或者是值得被关注的一种创作的方法或者是趋势，然后把它带到我们的舞台上，然后带到我们的荧幕上，呈现给观众，然后也刺激观众去思考。
Before LGBTQ rights were enshrined in Taiwan and same-sex marriage was legalized, the conversations around them were featured in festival films, which then moved the dialogue forward. So going by this year's lineup, it seems just a matter of time before true gender equality jumps off the screen and becomes reality. Piper Yu and Yujin Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of an exhibition in Cairo, Egypt called the Everyday Nile. The exhibit showcases journalists and photographers from different Nile Basin countries telling stories about the connection between their communities and the river. I'm Ethan Liu. Take care, and I'll see you next time.